right, so today we're going to be talking about a topic that is commonly asked right here on the channel when it comes to building up your digital marketing agency, and that is contracts. What actually needs to be in the contract? How long should the contract be? Who should sign it? All those different questions. I'm going to answer them for you today so that you can have a simple, very straightforward process of onboarding your new clients. Now, you can see this right here. This is several pages of a contract. This is a single contract. This is actually one of my past businesses that was a complete failure, and I wouldn't recommend having several pages as part of your contract. It doesn't make it more official. It doesn't make you more legit as a business owner. What I would do is I would have one single page that everything is written on that single page. So it's super easy for you to understand, for your client to understand, because at the end of the day, a contract is for both you and your client to protect you as well as protecting your client. Now, let me explain that. Now, first, it can protect you because if down the road you've done all this work for your client, and let's say that they, for some crazy reason, this is not gonna happen a ton of times, but they dispute the charge with their credit card company. Well, if you have a contract, you have proof that they agreed to whatever product or service that you were giving them or you're providing them. And so that's a simple way to go through and protect you. Another way it can protect you is it's going to list out the scope of work, and we're gonna get more into the details of exactly what your contract's gonna say. But have you ever brought on a client? If you've been in the social media marketing space for a little bit of time now, you more than likely have brought on a client and said, hey, I'll do all the work for $1,000 a month or whatever it is. And in your mind, you're thinking like, hey, I'll build up to 2 to 3, maybe 4 campaigns per month. And then every single week, or it seems like every other day, they're asking you to build another campaign, and then you're almost becoming slave to this one single client. And at the end of the day, the time that you're putting into working on this client, it's really not that beneficial to you in the long run. And then I like contracts as well because they help protect your client as well, because they can understand everything that is going to be provided to them. So they're not going into something blind where they're like, yeah, I'll give you $1,000, $2,000 per month, and I want leads, but I have no idea how many campaigns it's gonna get me, how many ads are gonna set up. And so it's great to have clarity on both ends before you enter into any type of relationship. Because then if someone's not meeting up to their end, then you just go back to the contract and you can cordially part ways. It doesn't have to blow up into some crazy situation. All right, so let's talk about what should actually be put into this contract. And as I mentioned earlier, it literally should just be one single page. Okay, it shouldn't be 10 or 20 pages and filled with all this legal jargon that no one really understands. You want it to be clear and concise so both you and your client easily understand it, so that you can easily refer back to that in case there's any problems that arise down the road. So the first thing that I like to have in there is just a simple sentence where it's saying, hey, I grant so-and-so permission to charge my credit card. Because if at some point down the road, for some crazy reason, your client's like, hey, they're upset, and they dispute your transaction with their credit card company, well, that's gonna help you if you have to end up fighting the dispute with your credit card company. So first thing, you wanna have, permission granted to go and run my credit card, and I 100% approve that. And then the second thing I like to have in there is the scope of work, right? What exactly are you going to be doing for them? And so they can clearly understand, okay, I should be expecting this, I should be expecting updates or follow-ups this many times a month or this many times a week, depending on what you are deciding to do for the client and how much they're actually paying you. And just keep in mind, guys, the more you charge, the more like they're gonna feel like they own you. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's sometimes great to get on those $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month clients. However, if someone's paying you $5,000 per month, they're going to expect a lot from you, and you're gonna be running around, and it's basically like you're not an entrepreneur, you're literally working for this single client. So make sure you have the scope of work all detailed out. How many Facebook ads are you creating? Are you doing retargeting? Are you doing email marketing? Are you doing Facebook Messenger bots? How many times are you posting on their Facebook page? Just so it is clear and defined so that they can understand what to expect from you, but then also if they're like, hey, they're wanting a new campaign built every single day or every other week or whatever it is. And then also to protect you, if your client comes to you and they're wanting a new campaign built every single day or every other day, and it just gets crazy and overwhelming, you can go back to the contract and say, hey, look, I would love to be able to do that, but look, right here in the contract, we talked about these terms, and if you want more campaigns built, we can have like an additional, let's say $500 per campaign, or we can up the quantity of number of campaigns, but that's gonna be X amount per month. And so it's easier to have that conversation if you've set everything up from the beginning, as opposed to jumping in, saying, hey, yeah, I'm gonna charge you $1,500 per month. No one really knows what you're gonna do. And then all of a sudden you're ending up working way more than you were expecting. And then it's harder to have that conversation a month or 2 months down the road. All right, so the next thing that is absolutely critical to have in this contract, and one of the most important things, which I think all these things are extremely important. And at the end of the day, guys, all of these only need to be like 1 to 2 sentences long. Okay, it doesn't need to be like a full paragraph, and that's why you can go through and have this all on a single page. So it's easy to refer back to you for you as well as your clients. And that is the payment. Okay, how much are they actually gonna be paying? Is it gonna be $1,500 per month, $2,000 per month? Maybe it's $1,000 per month, and then if they want any additional campaigns built, that's an extra $250 per campaign. So you want that all laid out in detail of exactly what you're gonna be charging. So then if you build out the 2 campaigns and that's their $1,000 a month retainer, but they want an additional one, you just go like, hey, well, it's only $250 and it's just like an a la carte type of thing. And so they know exactly what they're getting themselves into if they want more work done. All right, then the next thing that kind of goes along the lines with payment is renewals and cancellation. Okay, so what's gonna happen, like let's say you initially sign a 3-month contract. Well, what happens on that 4th month? How does that renew? Does it automatically renew? What happens when the customer wants to cancel? Well, what if they cancel within the first 90 days or after 6 months or whatever it is? What does the cancellation process looks like? And this is really helpful too, guys, when it comes to if, let's say, your customer for some crazy reason disputes the charge, they're unhappy with it, and the credit card company is like, well, why'd you charge their card? Well, you can say, hey, look, in this renewal and cancellation, it says right here that they had to reach out to me and let me know that, hey, they wanted to cancel. Because that happens from time to time. It doesn't happen very often, but randomly, like a customer, a client won't even reach out to you. Okay, they'll just be like, oh, they cancel it in their mind, and then they see the charge on their credit card statement, and they're like, oh, well, I canceled that. Well, you got to actually reach out to cancel, or else the person performing the work doesn't even realize that you canceled, even though you're continually doing the work. All right, so renewals and cancellations are absolutely critical. And then the last thing that I think is really important to have on there is something saying that I certify that I am the authorized user of this credit card. Now, there's a lot of different crazy situations that happen that come up as you get more experience in the social media marketing space. But it could be, let's say, a wife that uses her husband's credit card, and the husband is maybe like, doesn't want her to use a credit card, but she does anyway, and she didn't get approval from him. Or vice versa, where maybe the husband uses his wife's credit card. Or a lot of times in the real estate space, a real estate agent will use their broker's credit card, and so it's not necessarily their credit card. Okay, so you just have to be protected against all of that stuff, because like, let's say a real estate agent, okay, a solo agent uses their broker's credit card. Well, if the broker didn't get authorization and they're like, I don't even know what this charge is, they dispute the transaction. Well, now you kind of have yourself backed up and say, okay, I've got this contract in place, and you're set and ready to go. And then last but not least, I like to have the person's name, the date that they actually signed it, so we can show like proof of work when the service began, and then also a signature. Now, if you are working with local clients, you can have them read through this. You can go through this with them in person, have them actually write their name, the date, sign it. Or if you're working with somebody like in another state or another country or whatever it is, you can send it via DocuSign. So I use DocuSign to get all of my contracts signed, and this is not a paid promotional message or anything like that. I just like DocuSign. It's super easy. What you do is you take your contract, you upload it as a template, and then you can easily send it to your client, and they'll type in their name, their email, and then it'll pretty much pre-fill all of that information, and it'll timestamp it, it'll grab their IP address, it'll grab all of this data to protect you when you're going through and having this contract signed. All right, so just a quick recap here, guys. We first want their permission to charge the credit card. We want the scope of work laid out in detail. We want the payment terms, also renewal and cancellation, and them to certify that they are the authorized user of the credit card. Now, all of that is easily condensed into a single page contract. Now, if you feel like you get down the road and you're like, hey, I need to add something or whatever, more power to you. You can go through and add those to your contracts. But just remember, keep it simple because you want to be able to understand it. You want your client to be able to understand it. So if you ever need to refer back to it, it's simple to refer back to, and you're setting up the terms and you're setting yourself up and your client up for success from the very beginning. So anyway, guys, I hope this video helped as far as contracts go when it comes to your social media marketing agency. If you have any other questions of like different things that I would do, or if you're like, hey, should I include this in there or not, then just ask them down in the comments and I answer every single question that is posted on my YouTube channel. So make sure you guys comment down below. Also, if you guys found this video helpful, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching this video today. And with that said, I will see you in the next video.